Wassail, wassail all over the town. Our toast, it is white, our ale, it is brown. Our bowl, it is made of the white maple tree. Our wassailing bowl will drink to thee.
Hello and welcome to Gobs and Goblets with your host, me, Maddie.
And me, Hannah.
So today we're actually going to be looking at a couple of festive drinks, and the reason we've decided to do that is because me and Hannah don't like Christmas. We're actually big haters, but we love our audience, so we thought we'd provide something for you.
Get with the festive spirit. And about spirits, it's quite an alcohol-filled one.
But neither of us have had any yet.
No, but it sounds like it.
Anyway, should we get into the history?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first drink that we're going to be looking at is eggnog. And when you think of eggnog, you might think of Starbucks and Cafe Nero and, well, anywhere that you can get a hot festive drink. But no, I now think about medieval Britain. So historians actually don't know who invented it, which is kind of, a bit jarring considering we are a history podcast, but we can't always give you everything. Don't shoot the messenger. But it's assumed that it came about around medieval times. And now when it came about, it was only really a drink for the wealthy. So because people that could access it had to have milk and eggs and sherry, you could only really get that if you owned land. So it was, as I said, a very classy, exclusive beverage, exactly. And it was there to bring good luck and even more wealth to those that already had it. However, a bit later on, the monks decided to get on this grind and they started making a slightly different version called posset, which included figs in it as well. And they would have this drink and it started to gain popularity throughout. The reason that eggnog was really popular in Christmas time is actually because they didn't have it's actually because they didn't have refrigerators. Obviously they didn't have fridges back in the day, but it was a drink that was best enjoyed cold. So people would just leave it out in the open, in the cold snow, and then they would enjoy it. This is something that really threw me off because I always thought it was a hot drink.
This is what I thought.
I've never had eggnog before in my
Neither.
life, but I do know.
Also, you would assume in the colder months, you'd want a warm drink.
Exactly.
But no, lack of fridges, that's amazing, yeah.
Obviously, you then had colonies going over to America, and now with America, there was more land, more space, more opportunities. So people that couldn't necessarily have lots of land back in Europe, they were managing to get their hands on it over there. So they started raising cattle and chickens, and voila, you need milk and eggs to make eggnog. So it started becoming quite a popular drink in that way. We have a bit of a scandal though coming up now. So basically, you wouldn't believe it, but eggnog actually started a riot in 1826 at West Point, which is a US military academy.
Mad.
Yeah, I know. Wait till you hear it. So basically, every Christmas time, it was tradition that people would have eggnog with it. Obviously, it had some alcohol in, but they had this new colonel come into place. His name was Silenus Thayer, and he was really strict. And he was like, do you know what? I don't want any alcohol on the premises at all, at any given point, and not even for Christmas. So obviously, the students are like, well, you're ruining our vibe, our flow. We want to get a bit waved because it's Christmas time. So they started going out to the local taverns. Some of them would even cross the Hudson River, which is in New York, and they would get their drinks there. And upon this happening, they started going back to the camps. 2 people got caught out by security monitors or whatever you call them. Anyway, and this started a bit of a scuffle. So it all started to get a bit leery.
Security monitors in what year?
1826.
Like CCTV?
No, like people.
Security, what is a security?
Yeah, but...
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, cool.
There's no
security. Sorry, yeah, that... Okay.
They were monitoring the premises.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Anyway, so there started to be a little bit of a scuffle. And then, obviously, all the lads are backing them up because they're like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. So everything started getting destroyed. There was, like, so much damage caused to the area, and they actually ended up expelling 20 students.
Naughty. They're on the naughty list. Okay, so where did the name eggnog come from? So it might be useful to look at actually what eggnog is. So eggnog is a drink, typically made with eggs, sugar, cream or milk, and then a bit of alcohol. So obviously egg, because there's egg in the drink. But nog, what is a nog? So in Old English, nog means either a small wooden cup or a very strong beer. So we can presume from that it would have been talking about the alcohol content. However, in Scottish and in Irish Gaelic, a noggin, so an extension of nog, meant... Yeah, it didn't actually mean head.
Oh,
so I don't actually know when noggin came in. My noggin should have checked that. But anyway, so noggin meant also a cup. But then in early modern English, nog then changed from a strong beer to a small quantity of alcohol, usually a quarter of a pint or less. So that's where the name eggnog came from.
Love it!
So for the recipe we've done for you today for eggnog, we've actually done an extremely boozy recipe to the point that I think we're going to have a sip and feel drunk. The amount of alcohol I had to buy was ridiculous. And this recipe was none other from George Washington, one of the US presidents and also one of the US founding fathers. Now, this is the second week in a row we've had a US president recipe and a founding fathers recipe.
That's so true.
Is that not mental? Not planned. But yeah, so his eggnog for this recipe, you will need, well, he includes a lot, so I quartered the recipe. Now, in the measurement, he refers to 1 quart. So 1 quart is the equivalent of 4 cups. So in old American.
Oh, I would have thought 1 quart would be 1 quarter.
Quarter of what, though? Anyway, 1 quart was the equivalent to 4 cups. So for this recipe, you will need, and this is a recipe that's been quartered down, 1 cup of double cream, 1 cup of milk, 3 tablespoons of sugar. I used caster sugar for this. 125 mils of brandy, 62.5 mils of, now, didn't have rye whiskey, it was quite hard to find, so I used, I don't know much about whiskey, some random whiskey. 62.5 mils of Jamaican rum and 31.25 mils of sherry. So for the method, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to separate your egg yolks from your whites. I've never actually done this before.
How did you find it?
Do you know what? First yolk was a bit, The other 2 yolks weren't too bad. Now, I was a bit concerned because I was looking at my egg whites and they were looking a tiny bit yolky, and I was concerned that when we stiffen them later that was going to affect how stiff they get. We'll see. So anyway, you separate the egg yolks from the egg whites. Then what you need to do, you need to add your sugar to the yolks, and then you're going to beat this. Now, back in the day, you wouldn't have had an electric whisk. My arms are not capable to be whisking that long. So used an electric whisk, did the job much, much quicker. And you beat it until it's like a pale yellow colour, kind of like a lemon, and nice and smooth. And it's going to get quite thick. So then what you need to do is you slowly need to start adding your milk, and whilst beating, and then adding your cream also whilst beating. You then need to add in your liquor, which now, as you can see, I've mixed it all into 1 cup vial and have added it in. So once you've done that, you basically just need like a liquidy consistency, right? So then you're going to beat your egg whites. Now, this is going to take quite a while, but you need to do this till they form. They look like marshmallow clouds, man. I just wanted to eat them. They looked so beautiful. Did they form stiff peaks? You don't want them to the point where they're like a meringue, because I said to our cameraman, I said, does this look right to you? And he said, or was it Maddie or the cameraman? I can't remember.
Me.
Sorry. It was to Maddie. But she said that you didn't want it stiff enough that it wasn't a drink. And I said, that's a really good point. So it's kind of like a cloud consistency. So we put it in. Now you have to be very careful not to lose any air. So you need to fold in the whites really slowly into the batter. until it's all combined. So how it was best enjoyed was cold, so they used to leave it out for days on end outside. We have refrigerated it for maybe 5-6 hours. Am I scared we're gonna get salmonella? You know,
Yes,
maybe.
because there's an outbreak that just stopped
Maddie
20
said-
days ago.
Maddie said, Google the outbreaks. Google the outbreaks. And
Because I
said,
remember reading about it because I read the news, so I knew that something had happened along these lines. And then obviously there's so much going on in the world that I don't want to risk it. Do you know what I
but we have.
mean? Anything for you.
Maddie, can you tell us a bit about wassailing, please? What is wassail?
So, wassailing is a very old tradition and it consists of singing and dancing and just all together having a great time and making a lot of noise. And historians believe that this tradition has been happening for a long time now. It dates back to pre-Battle of Hastings, so that's before 1066. It's been going on and on and on, and it still happens today. Now, the reason that people sing and dance, it specifically happens in apple orchards, and this is to ward off any bad spirits and also give thanks and send good luck for the next year's harvest. So all in all, it's very sweet. The celebrations normally took place on the 12th night, so on the 5th of January, or on the 17th, which is Old Twelvey. Now, people used to gather together in big groups and they would, as we've mentioned before, make an absolute... They'd raise the roof, and this would be really appreciated by the person that owned the land. Mm-hmm. So they would come out with this bowl, which was called the Wassail Bowl, and it would be full of a warm beverage that the people would share and drink. This tradition was actually brought over, well, supposedly by the ancient Romans. When the Roman Empire came over here, they had the celebration for a goddess called Pomona, and she was a goddess of fruit trees and orchards and just nice stuff. Mm-hmm. So the people would have a festival and would have a feast where they ate lots of fruits and nuts and gave thanks to her. So this kind of followed through into when they came over to Britain, mm-hmm. into Britain. And then the Anglo-Saxons, they really liked it as well. So they kind of carried the tradition through.
So in terms of the name Wassail, it's quite an interesting name. I never heard of it, full stop. So it actually, as Maddie just referenced, the Anglo-Saxons, it came from the Anglo-Saxon words ways hail, wassail. And that meant to your health, because it was a toast. So with the wassail, you know, like Maddie said, it was a celebration, it was giving thanks, people would gather together and they would enjoy this warm beverage. Now, we haven't actually spoken about what the warm beverage was. So the warm beverage was either a hot mulled cider or ale, and it had sometimes roasted apples floating in it, sometimes candied oranges, and sometimes they would even temper eggs to make it thicker and put a piece of toast on top. So it was quite a drink. So when people had this drink, you know, it was a toast, it was a celebration, and it was, you know, when we give cheers now, it's, you know, it's to your health. And, you know, in a lot of languages, when you say cheers, like for example in Spanish, salud means health, it's to your health. Yeah. However, in English, we don't have that, we just have cheers. However, you had the Old English form of the word hal, and that meant to be healthful or to be healthy. Now, that's where to raise a toast actually comes from, because of the floating piece of toast on top of this drink. And obviously you raised your toast, da, 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 and that's where it came from, which was crazy. So yeah, so the recipe I've done for you today, I mean, there are so many different recipes, there are so many different variations. The one that I've picked was from John Bickerdike. His recipe was from a cookbook called The Curiosities of Ale and Beer, an Entertaining History, and it was published in 1889. So this recipe actually called for beer, but I decided to use cider because I wanted to try it with cider and I wanted to make it more appley.
It called for beer and you chose to use cider. I hate cider. I can't stand cider. Why have you done that? Cider and eggs and toast.
because I just thought it'd be a bit nicer. I just thought it'd be a bit more like apple-y. I just thought like beer with apple and toasted egg sounded worse in my opinion.
How well do you know me?
Anyway, sorry, so cider. So the recipe calls for 1 litre of cider, 3 green cooking apples. They didn't have them in the shop, so we just got some red ones, small ones. 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, half a nutmeg ball, freshly grated, which I did for you guys. Half a tablespoon of chopped ginger. Now, you know, the problem with historical recipes and why so much has gone wrong, you know, the previous few weeks is because they just don't give you much indication. It's like you just have to know. So how is it chopped? Is it diced finely? Is it sliced? I'll never know. So I decided to be lazy and just slice it. So instead of it being like a, you know, a grated consistency, I didn't want the drink to be bitty. I thought you add the slices in and it can give it that ginger flavour.
Fair enough. You could have strained it, but it makes
It's just
no
an extra
difference.
step. Exactly, and I think it just is nice. Anyway, so I did that. And you also, well, this is optional. You can have 2.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I added it in because I thought, love a bit of cinnamon. People used to add in the drink brandy. Now, for health and safety reasons, also because I'm an extreme lightweight, I thought not to put it in.
Oh, so you decided to pick cider and then not put the actual...
No, because, okay, the recipe states you can put dark rum, but people were questioning... It's a recipe that's... This is the recipe, but we've had a guy from modern day kind of look into it and translate it, and he actually believed that dark rum wouldn't have been very typical back then. But he said it gives it a nice flavour, so he decided to add it. But because we have every other liqueur in the eggnog... I'm okay, personally. So anyway, I didn't personally add it. It's up to you what you want to do. So then what you need to do is you're going to preheat the oven to 160 degrees fan. You're going to core the apples. I didn't have a corer, God, so I did an awful job. Took out half the apple, basically. But I took the middle out. And then you're going to place it on a greased baking sheet. So I just added some butter to the sheet. And then you're going to whack them in the oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. To the point that when you take them out, they're going to be nice and soft and the skins are going to peel away easily. I would recommend that you leave them first to cool down because I did completely burn my fingers, but I do that every episode, so it is what it is. And then what you're going to do is you're going to mash the apples up. So you're going to mash the apples you just roasted and you're going to add your spices and your ginger if you had grated it, for example. Then meanwhile, you're going to pour your cider into the pan, yeah, and you're going to add 3/4 of your sugar to it, and you want it to dissolve, so you need to mix so it all dissolves in. Now you leave a bit of sugar to the side because you should flavour it depending on how sweet you want it. So you can go tasting as you do and add more sugar if you want to. Then when all your apples mashed up and the cider's been cooking away for 10 minutes, you're going to add the mashed up apple to the cider. You're then going to whisk it in, and then you're going to let this simmer. It all needs to be simmer, never boiling, for 30 minutes roundabout. I'm going to try a version where it's with the tempered eggs and toast and one without, just because why not? But yeah, but just to add another thing, it used to be called lamb's wool as well.
Yes, it did. And why is that?
Now the reason for this is they used to actually roast crab apples if they could, and crab apples when they're roasted they can explode. So that's why I had to mash up the apples to give it this texture. So when you add the apples to the liquid, they float to the top and they kind of look like fleece. Like they would wool. So that's the reason why. And even Shakespeare referred to it in his play Midsummer's Night's Dream. So he even has a little passage where he talks about crab apples and talks about lamb's wool.
I used to have a crab apple tree. Back in my old house, they were horrible.
Oh.
They're really tart, so it's got a completely different flavour to an apple. It's about that big.
Maybe that's why you don't add that much sugar. That makes sense, depending on how like tart or sweet you want it.
Yeah, so with these apples, it would need less sugar because they're a lot sweeter. But crab apples, you normally make crab apple jelly because to eat them by themselves, they're disgusting. As a child, I would eat them anyway because you can.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun.
I've never tried a crab apple. Oh, that's really cool.
But yeah, another thing, just one more, just because we don't want to leave you with not enough to take away, which you have more than enough. Hannah's learnt a song, because obviously, as we've established, it's still a very popular tradition today. They do it in Devon, in Somerset, in Sussex, And so people gather together in these orchards and they still sing. And I think that's so lovely that this tradition is really carried through. But Hannah really, you know, she's a theatre student. She loves performing.
Sorry, it's been years.
Hannah was a theatre
Not
student.
musical theatre as well.
They don't need to know
I
that.
can't sing.
They don't need to know that. But Hannah's going to perform a song for us.
This song is dedicated out there to my apple trees. I'm joking. This is called the Gloucestershire song, and this is one of the most famous wassailing songs. I think Blur even did a cover on it.
Blur did do a cover. I also can't play the ukulele. I can play 3 chords, so this is going to be not quite the song that you were expecting. Not that you were expecting.
Wassail, wassail all over the You've asked me to sing, I'm singing. Wassail, wassail all over the town. Our toast, it is white, our ale, it is brown. Our bowl, it is made of the white maple tree. Our wassailing bowl will drink to thee.
That was the worst thing ever done in the world. You're on your part, on my part. I couldn't really keep up.
I was gonna say.
Ready to try it?
Oh, I thought we did it. Oh, okay.
No, so we're ready to try the drinks.
Okay, so it's actually quite good that we did the song because it's really important to note that, I mean, there were so many songs, but they used to change the lyrics depending on loads of different factors. So one of them could have been environment. So in this song, it just said that the wassail bowl was made from the white maple tree. White maple trees aren't a thing in the UK.
At all?
Or Europe, no.
Interesting.
Maple trees, however, are. So they might have included this by accident, maybe by the colour of the tree, but it wasn't actually that tree. It might have been to make the song rhyme. It could have been for loads of different reasons. What they were, the wassail bowls, however, made of was lignum vitae. Now, lignum vitae means the tree of life, and it originates in the Caribbean and the northern regions of South America, northern coast. So yes, this tree of life, in terms of the woods, it's an incredible wood because it's one of the hardest and heaviest woods there are in terms of commercial woods.
Interesting.
So this made it really good for holding hot drinks.
Right, so I am very excited to try this now. I'm kind of dreading it a bit, like egg.
I'm terrified.
Egg in a liquid form. It doesn't sit right with me, and you know what, if the salmonella cases are anywhere
If
near...
we don't have an episode the week after, you do know why.
You do.
Yeah. Welcome back. We are now going to taste two different variations of wassail and one of eggnog. So we have here, in all its glory, wassail with a bit of toast inside and all the bits.
It looks awful. Like my worst nightmares.
The bread has gone all soggy. It's nice and warm though. Got to think about the positives in life always.
You've been hitting us with some, like, seriously...
It just gets like that sometimes, you know.
What are they called? Snappy remarks, right? Let's go with that.
Salut.
No, I don't think I can do that.
Wassail!
Wassail!
That's raise and toast. They didn't say wassail. Sorry.
Wassail!
Ways hail.
Wales hail!
No. Anyway, ways hail.
Ways hail. I didn't really try it. That's not that bad.
I like the drink.
That's not that bad.
It's making my gums salivate. I'll try the bread. I don't really...
That's too far for me. I'm not trying the bread.
Just Wait. Not that bad.
I have an issue with soggy bread.
I don't really know what to compare it to. It's different. I don't hate it. Like an apple pudding.
Like bread and butter?
Like a bread and butter apple pudding.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
I thought I'd have an issue with the bits, but I don't.
I do find it quite sour.
It's very sour.
It's very sour, so more sugar was needed. And imagine with crab apples.
Oh gosh.
Very sour, very
Punch
interesting. Okay. We're now going to try the one with tempered eggs in and toast on top. My hands up. And we got bowls for this because not wooden, unfortunately. I'm so scared.
Ew.
I'm shaking.
No, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I tried
Okay.
to warn you about salmonella, but nobody wants
I'm
to
really
listen
scared
to
I'm
me.
going to get really ill. Okay.
I was going to say salut.
Salut.
That's fine. It's just like
It's just foamy.
same
Not bad.
business, just different punch.
I've enjoyed Wassail quite a bit.
Mhm.
See, with the eggy
I
bread.
could definitely like, you know how when they sell mulled wine at Christmas markets, they should be selling this. Do you know how many people would be on it? I'd be on it.
You were just saying how much you hate cider a minute ago.
But this does it's not like cider. It's like
It's not. This is what I like mulled cider. I've always liked it, and they
No.
never sell it.
I don't.
Business opportunity.
It is a business opportunity. I was gonna say the reason I like it is because it's got apples in it, but cider's made out of apples. But do you know what I mean? Like it's got something else.
Not bad. Not bad. I prefer the one without egg.
I don't mind the one with egg. It's just it's like a frothy milk almost.
Right, our really not cold enough eggnog. This I'm dreading. I'm not a big
Doing the whole
alcohol
thing?
fan.
Whole thing?
Apps.
Come on, you got it.
I have to write something after this, and then I
Yeah,
can't
me
even
too.
turn the glass. I'm drunk already.
You have to do the whole thing, Han.
No, can I just taste it first and then I'll shot it?
No. This is like the ketchup.
This is
We have
peer
to do that.
pressure. Okay. Okay, cheers.
That was so funny.
Wow. It's like Bailey's.
It's really nice.
Got it.
I thought it was going to be horrible. No. That 10-10 success. Cheers.
Wow.
So you could have had it in one.
I'm really shocked by that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, not that it's Christmas, but Merry Christmas.
And what a success to us.
Well, hopefully we'll see what happens in a few hours, but yeah. Overall, in terms of taste and stuff, fantastic.
I second that.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you next week if we're alive.
Bye.
Bye.